Maybe the best take yet on AI in Hollywood comes from Ben Affleck. Here's what he had to say. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. Today we are talking about AI and Hollywood, although really it's AI and creativity more broadly. The conversation is specifically sparked by these comments from Ben Affleck on a CNBC show that have just lit the internet on fire for, surprisingly, given that it's the internet, their clarity and nuance. As you will see when we share the clip, Affleck is neither denying the impact of AI, nor is he fearfully warning about its implications. We're actually going to watch and listen to nearly the 3.5-minute clip because it's so coherent, but first let's talk a little bit of background. Hollywood has actually been one of the front lines in the struggle around AI. We got our first strikes against AI last year, where both writers and actors were concerned around how AI might be used to replace them. Last September, the AP wrote, after a 148-day strike, Hollywood screenwriters secured significant guardrails against the use of AI in one of the first major labor battles over generative AI in the workplace. During the nearly 5-month walkout, no issue resonated more than the use of AI in scriptwriting. What was once a seemingly lesser demand of the Writers Guild of America became an existential rallying cry. And although this strike ended as it did, with the writers winning some protections, it felt much more like the beginning of something than it did like the end. There have, of course, also been dust-ups around training material. The Atlantic just this week published a piece, "There's no longer any doubt that Hollywood writing is powering AI." The analysis is part of the Atlantic's investigation into the open subtitles dataset, and they write, "I can now say with absolute confidence that many AI systems have been trained on TV and film writers' work. Not just on The Godfather and Alf, but on more than 53,000 other movies and 85,000 other TV episodes." Now, of course, these copyright questions are not just about whether a dataset was used in training the model, but whether that model represents an economic threat to the source of that data. In other words, the big question ultimately is, does AI threaten those writers? And yet at the same time, there has clearly been a countervailing trend as well, perhaps unsurprisingly coming from the studios. Lionsgate, for example, recently announced a deal with Runway to train a new model on Lionsgate's film and TV library. Lionsgate CEO told financial analysts, "The entertainment business is a creative enterprise, but its future growth will require a combination of art and science. We believe that AI, harnessed within the appropriate guardrails, can be a valuable tool to serve our talent. And we believe over the longer term, it will have a positive transformational impact on our business." And speaking of more ethical approaches to generative video, a company called Moon Valley just announced a $70 million raise to build what they call more ethical video models. The founder of the company told TechCrunch, "We shared a belief that video generation was going to transform media and entertainment, but the startups we saw operating in the space didn't have the necessary attributes to be successful. Existing companies were deeply antagonistic towards artist creators in the broader industries." Basically suggesting that the existing crop of companies feels like it can do whatever it wants vis-a-vis the industry, as opposed to thinking about how it can be augmentative. Still, the point here is that $70 million of funding just went into a company that's trying to specifically connect those dots. And honestly, on any given day, you can find opinions across the gamut. Nicolas Cage recently went on a media tour, warning Hollywood actors that AI, quote, wants to take your instrument. Tim Burton recently called it very soul-sucking. But then you're also seeing op-eds like this one in the New York Times Magazine. What if AI is actually good for Hollywood? Now, this article is specifically about how AI changes fundamentally what creators can even do. But maybe the most interesting part of it is the contextualization. The history of Hollywood, the author writes, can be told as a series of technological leaps, beginning with the invention of the camera itself. And each time something new comes along, jobs are lost, jobs are created, and the industry reorganizes itself. Everyone in town of a certain age has seen this movie before. Past leaps, though, have tended to have narrower impacts. Home video changed movie distribution, digital cameras changed movie production, CGI changed visual effects. The difference here is that AI has the potential to disrupt many, many places in our pipeline, says Laurie McCreary, the chief executive of Revelations Entertainment. This one feels like it could be an entire industry disruptor. So with all of that context, let's go back to these comments from Ben Affleck and see what he had to say.
I want to, as we kind of wrap up here, I do want to come back to AI. Jerry, you mentioned it, but Ben, how did, earlier, you guys weren't here, we did a demonstration, my colleague Andrew Sorkin and I recreated ourselves and our voices. How do you see it? I mean, is it a benefit or is it a real threat? Is it possible that a Netflix could say, we're going to do our own, James Bond thing out there with a bunch of actors that are completely recreated for this market or that market?
A, that's not possible now. B, will it be possible in the future? Highly unlikely. C, movies that will be one of the last things, if everything gets replaced, to be replaced by AI. AI can write you excellent imitative verse that sounds Elizabethan, it cannot write you Shakespeare. The function of having 2 actors or 3 or 4 actors in a room and the taste to discern and construct that is something that currently entirely eludes AI's capability, and I think will for a meaningful period of time. What AI is going to do is going to disintermediate the more laborious, less creative, and more costly aspects of filmmaking that will allow costs to be brought down, that will lower the barrier to entry, that will allow more voices to be heard, that will make it easier for the people who want to make Good Will Huntings to go out and make it. Look, AI is a craftsman. At best, craftsmen can learn to, make stickly furniture by sitting down next to somebody and seeing what their technique is and imitating. That's how large video models, large language models, basically work. A library of vectors of meaning and transformers that interpret context, right? But they're just cross-pollinating things that exist. Nothing new is created.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. And really, in order to do that, look. Craftsman is knowing how to work. Art is knowing when to stop. And I think knowing when to stop is going to be a very difficult thing for AI to learn because it's taste. And also, lack of consistency, lack of controls, lack of quality. AI for this world of generative video is going to do key things more. I wouldn't like to be in the visual effects business. They're in trouble because what costs a lot of money is now going to cost a lot less. And it's going to hammer that space, and it already is. And maybe it shouldn't take 1,000 people to render something, but it's not going to replace human beings making films. It may make your background more convincing. It can change the color of your shirt. It can fix mistakes that you've made. It can make it, you might be able to get 2 seasons of House of the Dragon in a year instead of 1. And if that happens, according to macroeconomics, in cultures where there are basically oligopolies competing, what should happen is with the same demand and the same spend is they should just make more shows, which should, you should have the same spend and now you can just watch more episodes. And eventually AI will allow you to ask for your own episode of Succession, where you could say, I'll pay $30 and can you make me a 45-minute episode where like Kendall gets the company and runs off and has an affair with Stewie. And it'll do it. And it'll be a little janky and a little bit weird, but it'll know their stats, it'll know those actors, and it will, remix it in effect, right. And it will do that. That's the value, in my view, long-term of AI for consumers, which is eventually my hope for AI is that it's an additional revenue stream that can replace DVD, which took 15 to 20% out of the economy of filmmaking, which is, and there should be negotiated rights and visual rights to say, if you want to, because what do people want to make 5-minute, 30-second TikTok videos where they look like the Avengers? Well, great. You can, just like you used to be able to buy your Iron Man costume at the store, you're going to buy your Iron Man pack and you and your buddies are going to look like Iron Man and Hawkeye, like, on Twitch. That's what's going to really happen.
All right, so really interesting comments, right? A lot of the response was just people being impressed and not thinking that Ben Affleck was going to get that deep. Another big theme was the appreciation of the nuance. Pinar Demerdag writes, the reason why I liked his words so much is that he is not deifying nor demonizing AI. AI is evolving to be a partner to assist us in our creative and production journeys where we can streamline all the parts that are devoid of intuition. So when it comes to the parts that involve vision, intuition, and celestial download, we can be as open as possible. And guess what? It will open up additional revenue streams for Hollywood that are gone with CDs, so it might as well save Hollywood. We'll come back to that comment around the business model in just a minute. Bilawal Sidhu, who's the host of the TED AI show, writes, finally a grounded take on AI in filmmaking from a Hollywood A-lister. Yes, AI will shatter barriers to entry, budgets will drop and the number of movies will rise and more voices will have access to filmmaking. Paradoxically, this will raise the bar for creative quality. Yes, AI will hammer the VFX industry. It's already in a downward spiral and AI will accelerate that decline. Yes, customized episodes on demand are inevitable. We'll see new episodes of Game of Thrones long before AI can create an entirely new, coherent, and compelling series. Incremental episodes will beat full-season automation. I've frequently in the past used entertainment as my example of why my base case is the future of the world just being about more. I think it's very likely that we do get a world where people are able to just generate their own versions of their favorite IPs. I, for example, want West Wing season 8 through 28. It's also likely that there will be new networks built on top of that as well, where people can share their best generated episodes. But there will still need to be new sources of IP. Now on that front, Robbie Starbu writes, sorry, but Ben is wrong on multiple fronts. In the future, one small team or maybe even one person alone will be able to make a film that looks and sounds like a Hollywood blockbuster. AI can already write entire films, edit, render, simulate lighting in different environments, etc. Now, interestingly, I actually think that he's sort of making just an extreme version of the same point. One small team or one small person alone making something great is just those barriers to entry being lowered. And where Robbie agrees is that human taste is going to be incredibly important. The rise of AI in filmmaking, he continues, will force real filmmakers to set themselves apart with truly original content that emotionally separates the film from the AI films. Gilly Moreno writes, Affleck hits the nail on the head with the concept of taste. Those who develop and nurture good taste will be in the golden era of AI. Lastly, I did want to make mention of that revenue stream piece, which was almost a throwaway line of part of it. Here's Ben Affleck's frequent contributor, Matt Damon, talking about how streaming changed DVD economics and what the implications for the industry have been.
Lots of viewers can relate to is sitting on the couch on a Friday night, going through the streaming services, cycling through the movies and thinking to themselves, they're not making movies for me anymore. As somebody who's been intimately involved in movie making for 30 years, what are the macro Hollywood conditions behind that sentiment?
Well, so what happened was the DVD was a huge part of our business, of our revenue stream, and technology has just made that obsolete. And so the movies that we used to make, you could afford to not make all of your money when it played in the theater because you knew you had the DVD coming behind the release, and 6 months later you'd get a whole nother chunk. It would be like reopening the movie almost. And when that went away, that changed the type of movies that we could make. I did this movie Behind the Candelabra, and I talked to a studio executive who explained it was a $25 million movie. I would have to put that much into print and advertising, right, to market it, what we call P&A. So I'd have to put that in P&A. So now I'm in $50 million. I have to split everything I get with the exhibitor, right, the people who own the movie theaters. So I would have to make $100 million before I got into profit. And the idea of making $100 million on a story about like this love affair between these two people, yeah, I love everyone in the movie, but that's suddenly a massive gamble in a way that it wasn't in the 1990s when they were making all those kind of movies, the kind of movies that I loved. And
ultimately, I think that even hold aside the specifics of the entertainment industry, and Token Bender here really gets what's valuable about this. Ben Affleck gets it, they write, and most AI influencers are busy doomer posting or AGI hyping. In other words, AI will change the world. It will not end the world. It will reshape industries. It will not end industries. And along the way, there will be immense opportunity. Opportunity, honestly, like we've almost never seen, to make and shape the future. That's going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Appreciate you listening as always. Until next time, peace